What is the most controversial food opinion you have? Only vaguely a food opinion, but there's no such thing as a special occasion food. Like, cakes are often associated with parties. But I'm a grown man, and if I want cake because it's Wednesday, I'm gonna go get myself a Wednesday cake. I think I'll go get a Wednesday cake too. Thank you, sir. It's Sunday. Can I too buy Wednesday cake? That's the best thing about being grown up. You can have Wednesday cake any day of the week. Tall burgers that you can't even take a bite out of suck and shouldn't exist. Agreed. While they make for interesting pictures, tall burgers are impossible to eat without making a huge mess. Just because you like hot food, doesn't mean you have to use the absolute hottest sauce you have. I can handle hot, but prefer medium, where I can enjoy the heat but still actually taste my food's flavor. Usually when I order wings, I ask, what's the hottest one you have? I'll take the one right below that. It doesn't help that the hottest wing always has some dangerous name. Yes, we have mild, medium, hot, and Satan's acidic bleeding sphincter. Sad face. Man, I love spicy. However, I can never order it because I like reading the ingredients and knowing the flavor of the heat. However, intestinal bleeding 2.0 tells me fuck all. Friend of mine makes hot sauce. He made one called Big Dick Energy that has done ridiculous pepper in it, along with a shit ton of garlic. He then fermented it. The fermentation process took out a lot of the heat, so he ended up with a good damn delicious garlic hot sauce with a slow creep spice that gets to the edge of painful and then just stops. I love beets because they taste like how dirt smells. And it's the good dirt, too. The kind you bought for your garden. Not that stuff by sidewalk the kids play on. I'm better than dirt. Well, most kinds of dirt, not that fancy store-bought dirt. I can't compete with that stuff. Sticking to the traditional authentic versions of foods is not necessarily better. It's okay to be creative in cooking and mix things from different cuisines. I've nannied for a South Indian family and I loved seeing the things the kids came up with. From eggs Benedict based on an idli instead of a biscuit, to Nutella and banana sandwiches on a paratha. Yummy food is yummy. Greater than yummy food is yummy, ain't that the truth? Portion size is more important than restrictions when dieting for a lot of people. I lost all my excess weight. All of it. I'm skinny as fuck. And I did it just by tracking my calories. I ate plenty of Snickers bars and shit, but I made up for it the rest of the day. Diet matters a lot more than exercise too. Yep, you can't outrun a shitty diet. This is true, but a decent exercise schedule still helps a lot when it comes to your diet. And of course, regular exercise has a lot of health benefits you won't get from being sedentary with a good diet. Muffins are just cake disguised as breakfast food. Way back in the 90s, Otis Spunkmeyer started selling delicious muffins that were so horribly bad nutritionally. We all grabbed them from the cafeteria for breakfast until someone read the label. Those orange muffins are what dreams are made of. Unhealthy food isn't bad for you if you eat it in moderation. A lot of people I know try and eat healthy all the time, and freak out if somebody orders a cheeseburger. One cheeseburger isn't going to kill you, as long as you don't eat crap food all the time. Recipes that people try to make healthy. I mean, sure, you can make healthy Alfredo, but maybe instead just eat it occasionally, a few times a year. Then you don't have to eat something that tastes bad but it's healthy. Exactly this. Stop trying to reinvent the wheel, people. There is no such thing as delicious 2-ingredient keto bread. That's meringue, ma'am. You made meringue. Broccoli is delicious. Brussels sprouts, too, and neither should ever be boiled or steamed. Roasted is the way. Brussels sprouts get too much hate. Why are French fries not suitable for breakfast but tater tots are? I should be able to eat whatever I want for breakfast even if it's not typically a breakfast food because it's still mostly the same. You can eat whatever you want whenever you want. I sometimes have a pad thai for breakfast. I would get pad thai for breakfast if it was sold in the morning. Just wake up at 11 and your problem is solved. Healthy food can be absolutely delicious. Probably not a controversial opinion for many, but I'll never understand the health nuts who eat nothing but unseasoned chicken and steamed broccoli. Is the goal to make food as boring as possible so you're not tempted to overeat? Oh lord, my roommate takes this one step even worse and eats only unseasoned chicken breast and plain, microwaved broccoli. Oh, and unseasoned fish that he sticks in foil in the air fryer. He never cleans the air fryer because apparently he thinks the foil is enough of a barrier. It makes the whole house smell terrible. putrid off-gassing fish and microwave broccoli fart smell. How he can take such potentially delicious foods and just ruin them for the sake of his diet is terrible. No. I hate all of that. I can understand how someone could be led to believe that even small amounts of salt and oil are bad for you, but there are so many salt-free herbs and spices to choose from. How some people are so anti-flavor is beyond me. Chips and guacamole, salsa is a universally accepted dish that passes the vegan test. I don't think you could offend anyone by offering them this. Who gets offended when you offer them guac? Is that a thing? This would be only acceptable if they'd repeatedly told you they're allergic to avocados and you continue to ignore them. Otherwise, nobody should be offended by guacamole lol. Bacon is fine, but is vastly overappreciated. It's salted meat. Chill out everyone. It's easy to convince yourself you're a good cook by just covering everything in bacon. Then if you're forced to not use it you realize you're a fraud, and have to start from scratch. At least that's what a friend of mine told me. People worry about authenticity and adherence to culinary traditions way too much. Most authentic dishes are less than 200 years old, and even if they existed before then in name they would have been drastically different. Change is good and trying new things and new combinations is good. Right. To add on to this, the idea that North American Chinese food isn't real. North American Chinese food is essentially its own cuisine. Sure, you wouldn't find most of it in China, but people act like it's a shit parody of Chinese food. It is its own thing. And it can be absolutely delicious. Also, Chinese food varies immensely. People forget China has over 1 billion people. Not everyone eats the same exact dishes. Cupcakes with super thick and ornate frosting are fun to look at but rarely tasty. Except when it's actual buttercream frosting. But even then, I'd cut that cupcake into quarters and eat sparingly. Too much cheese in food stops being enjoyable. I don't think I've ever encountered such a dish. Cream cheese in sushi is fucking gross. That's it. We must fight to the death. Sushi rolls shouldn't be so big you have to take more than one bite or else they disintegrate. I think about this every time I get sushi. Hope I don't look stupid and choke on this incredibly large piece of sushi. For me it has to be when we're at the end of the tortilla chips bag and I dump the broken pieces into a bowl that pour salsa on top. I like to call this dish Mexican cereal. I dump the tortilla crumbs in the almost empty jar of cheese dip and call it nacho casserole. Homegrown vegetables aren't about saving money, it's just simply better food. We grow tomatoes at home every year when the weather starts to get better, and I've got to say the difference between homegrown tomatoes and tomatoes bought at a store are night and day. A thick slice of homegrown tomato put between 2 lightly toasted pieces of bread with a thin layer of mayonnaise with a bit of salt and pepper is heaven in summer.